Here on the desk we have a monitor from AOC. This is their AG322QC4. It sports a 32-inch 1800R curvature Quad HD, that's 1440p, 144Hz AU Optronics VA panel. It also boasts FreeSync 2 support ranging from 30Hz to 144Hz, and within this spec itself, it supports HDR 400. The 400 standing for 400 CCD units of brightness available in control. So without further ado, let's take this panel through all the paces ranging from input lag to response times to see if it is really a good gaming monitor, and if so, it can double down as a photo video editing monitor. Welcome back to Tech City, and here it is right here. It comes in at 540 USD currently, or if you're in Australia, 640 Aussie dollars. So the AUD pricing on this monitor in triple P terms compared to the US pricing is actually better, technically making this a better buy in Australia. Now straight away into the input lag itself. We measured this with a 1000 FPS camera with a red light switching on to test total system input lag. This will give us a good idea of whether this monitor has inherent input lag itself. So the best frame we got here was 10 milliseconds, the worst frame 22 milliseconds, averaging out to 16.8 milliseconds of total input lag through the system. So the input lag is phenomenal on this monitor. This is with the input lag option itself set to low on, which I'm positive any gamer themselves will want to leave this feature on. So if I had to guesstimate a input lag figure for this monitor directly, it would have under 10 milliseconds, making it really good. However, since this monitor does have a VA panel, we have to check out the response times, which are very important at 144Hz. Since every frame is transitioning at around 7 milliseconds, we'd want response times either at this 7 milliseconds or under for the best viewing experience. And so there's got 4 different overdrive settings: off, weak, medium, and strong. On the medium setting, we're getting around 7 to 8 milliseconds of response times in CSGO. Changing over to the strongest setting, we're getting around 6 to 7 milliseconds, meaning it was just coming under the threshold of being acceptable for a decent gaming monitor at this resolution and 144Hz. However, moving on with other settings important to this monitor is the brightness. Since it is rated at 400 CCD, we did test this out with the iDisplay Pro, and the best square that we measured was 379. So it is coming a little bit under that rating, but the white uniformity on this model was very good, with the worst case scenario from the center being 5%. So very well uniform all around. Doing a crosshatch test with an orange background, I did notice a smidgen of crosshatching at 144Hz. However, from a normal viewing distance of 80 centimeters, this won't be a problem at all. Moving on to the backlight bleed itself, it was phenomenal in that there was really no noticeable backlight bleed, even on a pure black background with my camera going all the way up to 400,000 ISO. So far for gaming, this is a good monitor, but what about out-of-the-box settings for photo and color accuracy? Say you want to use this as not just a gaming monitor, but something to edit videos too. Well, using the iDisplay Pro, measuring the out-of-the-box profile, it was pretty off in pretty much every spectrum from low to high key, as well as the colors themselves. Changing this to the sRGB mode as well was a little bit better, but it still wasn't accurate. So if you were getting this monitor for photo or video editing, I wouldn't suggest it, unless of course you do want to calibrate it yourself. However, upon pulling this monitor out of the box, I will start to talk about the build quality and feature set, and this monitor is exceptional in this regard. It's got a very thin bezel, pretty much a frameless design, as well as the stand being very high quality, and it has a tilt, height, and swivel adjust on the horizontal plane. Vertical, it doesn't have swivel adjust there, so that's the one thing. If you want to mount this vertically, then you will need a different stand. However, it does have support for VESA mounting, and there was no croaking when I was moving this monitor around. It was very firm and had a tight build quality. Moving through the OSD, I think AOC have absolutely nailed this. You get a D-pad on the bottom where you can easily go through all the different settings. And speaking of the settings themselves, it's very in-depth, gives you full control of things like shadows, and it's also got an interesting feature called game color, which if you want to give that saturated, unrealistic look, which I personally love when it comes to enjoying games, then you can change this up from 10 on the default setting up to 20. I found 15 looked very good, especially when I was playing Battlefield 5. The colors really came out. So great setting to have in this monitor. Moving through other features, you've got full RGB control, you've got blue light control as well if you wish to lower the blue light at nighttime, as well as having different game modes built in, ranging from RTS to FPS to custom game modes, which you can then save for yourself. Though on the OSD itself, you also get the ability to control the LED lighting, which is on the bottom in 2 different zones and on the rear with 4 different zones, but they all come to the same color, ranging from either the choice of red, green, or blue, and you can control the intensity of that. Moving through the inputs and outputs, you get SVGA as well as 2 HDMI ins and 2 DisplayPort ins supporting up to DisplayPort 1.2. There's also a USB and data hub as well as an additional port for the included controller itself, which you can then control pretty much all the settings you could control through the D-pad itself, just externally via the commander. Also included with the monitor is 2 speakers which are mounted in the rear of the unit, and the sound itself could be described simply as muddy. I personally wouldn't be buying this monitor for the included speakers, though you will get voice out of it if you just want to use it for Skype conversations. Though if you are looking for some decent sound, definitely look at picking up some separate speakers or headphones. Though on to the last big setting with this monitor and printed on the box, the HDR. Moving through the YouTube demos, just like any other monitor I've had come through here under $1,000 this year, it does look good on those YouTube HDR demos. Definitely better than the default settings, but when it came to games, I do much prefer leaving HDR off. The colors seem to be washed out just like the Windows desktop. And personally on this monitor, I much prefer just using the default setting with the color mode set to 15. Anyway, if you survived until here, it is now conclusion time with the AG322QC4. And what do I personally think of it? Well, I think it's a gaming monitor. And so if you're looking for something for color accuracy, I'd go elsewhere. But if you want a very enjoyable monitor for gaming, has 144 Hz, it has decent response times with the strong overdrive setting, 6 to 7 milliseconds. It has very low input lag, as well as having great viewing angles, then this monitor is definitely worth a look. Comes in at 540 US or in Australia 640 AUD, and honestly for gaming it is a really nice monitor. I really do like the implementation of the OSD as well, in that you can get that more immersive experience, especially if you're playing RTS, by simply hitting the game colors up and getting that nice saturated look, as well as having those extra features for competitive gamers too, like shadow control, FPS display on the monitor itself, which you can put in 4 different corners, and having a manual crosshair overlay on the monitor itself, which I don't think is actually allowed in competitive play. But anyway, this monitor does pack a big punch, and I hope you enjoyed today's review. If you did, then be sure to hit that like button and let us know in the comment section below what you think of the AOC AG322QC4 32-inch monitor here on the desk. Love reading your thoughts and opinions as always, and I'll catch you in another tech video very soon. Peace out for now. Bye.